hospital bed in a level 1 trauma center. Rich Thomason reporting.
A jury on Friday acquitted a former police officer in Virginia of involuntary manslaughter after he fatally shot a shoplifting suspect last year outside a busy shopping mall. But the jury in Fairfax County did convict the former sergeant, Wesley Shiflett, on a charge of reckless handling of a firearm. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
This is Ian with AccuClean. With fall quickly approaching, AccuClean knows that it can be all too easy for kids and pets to track in mud, grass, and leaves. Luckily, we know the solution. Now is the perfect time to get your carpets, rugs, and upholstery cleaned as it extends the freshness and life. AccuClean is a veteran-owned and local carpet cleaning company located in the Midlands for over 20 years. Be sure to give us a call at AccuClean today at 803-957-1202 to make sure your carpets are refreshed approaching this season. That's AccuClean at 803-957-1202. We'll see you soon.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
It's a Friday night in South Carolina, and that means high school football. Welcome to the Founders Federal High School Scoreboard with Phil Kornblut and David Shelton. We've got all the scores from across the state, plus game reports and interviews with coaches. The High School Scoreboard is proudly brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders. Now, let's head to the Scoreboard Studios in Columbia. Here's Phil Kornblut.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the High School Football Scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union here on the Sports Talk Media Network. Good to have you with us. We're in Jacksonville on our way to Tallahassee for Clemson and Florida State tomorrow night. But back in South Carolina, we've got high school football. Of course, some games not being played tonight because of the storm that whipped through the upstate, especially the upstate. We got many games not being played up there tonight, but other parts of the state, we do have high school football. Going to bring you all the scores that we have available to us here in just a moment. Going to be hearing from some reporters out and around the state of South Carolina tonight. May call up a couple of coaches as well. Also, Coach Scott Early will join us from his location tonight. Not sure what game he took in, but he'll be joining us to talk about things in high school football in South Carolina. And David Shelton will be joining us a little bit later on as well. Josh Cohen is back at our studios in downtown Columbia. So the weather tonight in South Carolina, I think, was pretty good for some high school football. I know as I was driving into Florida this afternoon where the temperature was in the low 90s, we had some thunderstorms going through the area. Not sure any of that made it into South Carolina tonight. But the good thing is we do have some high school football scores to share with you. We're going to get to those right now and keep you up to date here over the next couple of hours. So let's give you the scores that we have available to us, courtesy of ScoreStream. Lee Central defeated Great Falls 54-12. Chester 56, Eau Claire nothing. I'm going to read some of these games to you as being postponed as well, in case you had them on your bingo card. Ben Lippen and Porter Gowd, Airport South Aiken, Oak Brook and W.W. King, Wynn and Newberry Academy. Dorchester Academy defeated Lee Academy 48-6. PD Academy leading Hilton Head Prep 28-0 in the second half. Northside Christian over PAC Panthers 14-12. PAC stands for Providence Athletic Club. Northside Christian wins it 14-12. Third quarter, Thomas Sumter on top of Clarendon Hall, 7-0. Looks like we have a postponement, Heathwood Hall and Augusta Christian. It's Hammond big over Lawrence Manning, 65-14. Saluda, American Leadership Academy of Lexington. That game postponed. Lakeview beat Hannah-Pamplico 30-7. In the fourth quarter, Latta and Carvers Bay are tied at 22. In the fourth quarter, Cross up big on St. John's, 70-0. Bamberg Earhart blows out Hardyville, 47-0. Lamar big over McBee, 56-7. Third quarter, Louisville leading C.A. Johnson, 15-14. Newberry and Silver Bluff postponed. Oceanside Collegiate big win over Hanahan, 49-7. Third quarter, Waccamaw leading Georgetown, 36-13. Third quarter, Loris on top of Dillon, 23-21. Big matchup there. And the Lions on top of the Wildcats, 23-21. Marlboro County, I think they are 6-0 now, and they rolled it up on Aner, 41-8. That final score. Lake City defeats Mullins, 49-14. Kingstree over Manning. Make that a third quarter score. Kingstree 22, Manning 8. Not a final. In progress, Kingstree 22, Manning 8. Fourth quarter, Atlantic Collegiate 27, Marion nothing. Andrews 42, Academic Magnet 6. North Central 34, Chesterfield 21. That's the fourth quarter score. Fourth quarter score, Central of Pageland 47, Buford nothing. And Sherrall leading Andrew Jackson in the fourth quarter, 21-0. Fairfield Central, Mid-Carolina, they were postponed. In the upstate, Belton Honeypath, big winner over West Oak, 55-6. Fourth quarter, 96-41, Pelion 8. Batesburg, Leesville, Strom Thurmond, that game postponed. Bluffton in the fourth quarter, leading Buford, 35-28. Final score, South Florence with a big win tonight over Darlington. Darlington having a fine season, but not enough for the Bruins tonight. Not even close, 60-6. South Florence big over Darlington. In the third quarter, Crestwood on top of Wilson, 21-9. South Aiken and Gilbert, that game was postponed, as was Brooklyn Casey and Gray Collegiate and Airport and Midland Valley. In the fourth quarter, this is a good one. Richland Northeast and Dreer. Cavaliers undefeated, looking to stay that way. They are on top of the Blue Devils, 14-13. We'll keep a close watch on that one. It's a good ball game in the Midlands area. How about this one? Didn't see this one turning out this way. South Point just swamped Camden tonight, 64-0. Stallions all the way there. AC Flora leading Lancaster in the third quarter, 10-0. Seneca and Blue Ridge, that game was postponed. In the second half, James Island and West Ashley are knotted up at 3-3. Sumter rolls it up on West Florence, 63-25. In the fourth quarter, Myrtle Beach leading St. James, 37-14. River Bluff leading White Knoll in the fourth quarter, 21-7. Ridgeview in the third quarter on top of Spring Valley, 38-14. Give you some more scores as we check out games tonight across the state. Third quarter, Indian Land 29, Nation 4 27. Irmo continues to roll 34-8 over Lexington in the Battle of the Dam. Outside of Columbia, big win for Irmo, 34-8. Goose Creek beat Wando 21-20. In the fourth quarter, it's Rock Hill 28, Fort Mill 17. Final score, North Myrtle Beach over Conway 24-14. Northwestern continues its impressive run this season, scoring a bunch of points, and the Trojans beat Clover 57-23. Carolina Forest, no match for Socastee tonight. Panthers win it over the Braves 37-3. Lucy Beckham in the fourth quarter is leading Cane Bay 30-22. Dorman and Boiling Springs, that game was canceled. Berkeley in the fourth quarter, leading Stratford 30-22 in the fourth quarter. Ashley Ridge in a tight one over Fort Dorchester, 41-35. 41-35, that score. And let's see here. Double check something here on Sumter and West Florence because I'm seeing another score. Yep, 63-25. That is the final. Sumter over West Florence, seeing it posted twice here. Florence Christian over Christian Academy of Myrtle Beach, 36-20. And that is what we have thus far with the final scores for you at this point. We'll be getting to some of the folks who have been out watching games tonight, and we'll talk to some of the coaches as well. In fact, Billy Baker will be joining us shortly. He was over at the May River Colleton County game. So, Josh, as soon as Billy gives us a call, a hot call from Billy Baker. All right, let's go to Billy, who was on the scene tonight, Colleton County, homecoming there, and he was watching May River and Colleton County do battle tonight. Hello, Billy.
Hey, Phil. May River tonight goes to 5-0, where I have them ranked number 3 in the high school sports court 4A poll. 36 rushes tonight, 335 yards. They threw one pass for 16 yards and a touchdown to Johnson for their 41st point tonight. Andrew Johnson leading the way tonight for the Sharks. 13 rushes, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Asia Haskins, 8 carries, 105 yards, touchdown of 13 yards. Very unusual team. 4 and 6 a year ago. They changed from a gun to a slot wing tee, which is patterned after the top team in the nation in Texas that runs it. And they break the huddle, and they're going to snap the ball within 1 second. And I'll tell you, they're quite a fast-moving team. Had a running clock in the fourth quarter. I want to give you Richard Bonneville, head coach of May River, the son of Jim Bonneville, who coached at Spring Valley for years and years. He's 5-0, probably one of the great turnaround stories in high school football from last season to our season now. I give you a very happy coach on the road, waiting to get on the team bus. Here he is, Coach Bonneville.
All right. Thank you, Billy.
Hey, Phil, how you doing?
Coach Bonneville, congratulations to you, sir.
Absolutely, a long time.
Long
time. How's your son doing?
You know what? He's up in Chicago, and he's doing just fine.
Well, you make sure you tell him that Coach Bonneville said hello.
I'm going to certainly do that. Everything he learned from his football days paying off now, so we thank you very much.
Absolutely.
You helped make him into a fine young man. But how about you,
He's
fine young
kid.
coach, and you got this thing turned around and you installed this new offense. What motivated you to install this particular offense?
Well, we'd been in the gun for a while, and it kind of ran its course, and so we needed to do something to mix it up. Everybody knows what we're going to do, and we're not as big and strong as everybody else is. So, I've watched the TL Hannas of the world kind of do this wing tee type thing, and I mean, they do it the best. So we wanted to pattern ourselves after the best, and we've seen Coach Calabrese at Hartsville do it. So a lot of guys that I want to emulate our team after.
So a lot of motion, a lot of misdirection, a lot of speed in your backfield?
Absolutely. Our goal is to go as fast as we can, get good angles, and hopefully make somebody miss.
Well, it sounds like it. Now, you threw one pass tonight. I think Billy said at the very end of the ball game, you threw one pass. I mean, are you embarrassed to go an entire game without throwing a pass? You felt like you had to throw a pass?
Well, we threw two passes and had 2 touchdowns.
No, one tonight.
We scored the one in here, and then one to Asa Haskins and one to Andrew Johnson.
I got
That's not bad percentages right there. I'll tell you what, not bad percentages.
No, we're very
in the 6 a.m. practice.
Our kids have been working hard. We don't have many. We got 31 of those guys out there, and they wake up at about 5:30 every morning, and we go to practice from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. and things are paying off for them.
Sounds
We've
like
been very lucky.
Somewhere Chuck Reedy is smiling at you, ground Chuck. When he was calling plays at Clemson and Baylor, man, he just loved to run the football all the time. What's coming up next for you? Who's next week?
Oh, man, we got a hot Bishop England team. I don't know what they've done tonight with Hilton Head, but, man, they are good. They sling the ball around. They're playing some good defense. That's gonna be a tough opponent for us.
Well, hey, congratulations on the season thus far. Best of luck moving forward. It's great talking to you again, and I know we'll talk to you
Mr.
again.
Cornblow, I appreciate it.
Hey, don't call me
You have
Mr.
a great night. Thank you.
There's no Mr. Hill, Coach. You're the coach. I'm just the corn, all right?
All right. Well, I appreciate everything you do for our young guys.
Well, thank you, and thanks to Billy Baker. Appreciate it very much.
Absolutely.
Take
All right,
care.
thank you.
That's Coach
Bye-bye.
Richard Bonneville. Of course, his dad was a great coach back in the day, Coach Jim Bonneville, and Richard is getting it going there at May River. That's a nice win for them tonight, and I love to hear about the kind of offense that they're running, something kind of unique in high school football these days, and something when you run it right, boy, I tell you what, it is hard to defend if you have the right people to do it, and they run it right and they know what they're doing. That is a tough offense to defend. All right, appreciate the coach and Billy for joining us tonight. Let's hit the opening break of the show, and we will come back with more for you. Just a minute. We will re-up on some of the scores and get you caught up there. And more reporters will be joining us as well here in the early moments of the show. And we appreciate you being with us tonight across the state of South Carolina as you listen to the Founders Federal High School Football Scoreboard right here on the Sports Talk Media Network.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Watching the game inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
Set your youth up for a lifetime of financial success with Smart Start from Founders Federal Credit Union. Smart Start products and educational resources help teach kids and teens the basics of saving, budgeting, and smart spending. Help them learn smart money skills to jumpstart their financial journey with Smart Start savings, debit, certificates, and educational resources. Learn more at foundersfcu.com/smartstart. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
South Carolina's taste buds have been, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with a family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at scattle.org. Beef. It's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff program.
And we're back on the high school football scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Looks like Latta has pulled out an overtime victory over Carvers Bay. Being reported as Latta winning 34-28. Bamberg Earhart 47, Hardyville nothing. And Union County, Union County, nice win for Union County, beating Mountain View Christian tonight 37-23. Dillon has now gone on top of Loris in the fourth quarter, 27-23. That one's gone back and forth. Lake City beat Mullins 49-14. And Atlantic Collegiate over Marion 27-0. Andrews 42, Academic Magnet 6. Barnwell 38, Lake Marion 16. Late in the ball game, North Central leading Chesterfield 40-35. Cheraw edges Andrew Jackson 21-20. And we've got Bluffton over Beaufort in the fourth quarter, 42-35. And South Florence beat Darlington 60-6. And Richland Northeast and Dreer, they're late in the ball game, and it's 21-21. South Point beat Camden. Did they update this score? It says 64-0. I thought earlier I said 50-something to nothing. It's been updated to 64-0. And AC Flora beat Lancaster 17-14. West Ashley over James Island 10-6. Last night, Sumter over West Florence 63-25. And let's get more on that big win for the Gamecocks. And we welcome in Dennis Brunson of the High School Sports Report to tell us more about that win by Sumter last night. Hello, Dennis.
Hey, Phil. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Great to have you with us.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yes, Sumter. They've seemed to. They've been steady on offense, explosive on offense all year, and they were really explosive last night. 28 in the first quarter. West tried to stick with them. It was just 28-13, and then Sumter led 49 to 19 at halftime, and then they just ran the ball. Had three guys rush for over 100 yards, and as you know, I've been covering Sumter a very long time, and I don't ever recall that happening before. It may have, but I don't think so. But Cam Fortune, who ran for over almost 300 yards 2 weeks ago, and replacing John Peebles, had 201 and 2 touchdowns on 17 carries. Franklin Richardson, who had a big game last week, the quarterback, he ran for 151 and 2 touchdowns on just 7 carries, and threw for 61 yards and another score. And John Peebles, who he'd been out the last 2 weeks because of little nick and knack injuries. He came back, 17 carries, 109 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And it was just a few weeks ago he passed, and I'm gonna try to do my best, Lou Holtz here, Jamacia Jackson, for his career touchdown rushing leader. And he's just short of becoming the all-time scoring touchdown leader overall from a guy named Roderick McDowell. So he's been a pretty good performer for Sumter these last 3 years. But Sumter had 530 yards of total offense, and I believe it was 438 rushing. They just dominated the game. And USC defensive end commitment Anthony Addison had another huge game. 4.5 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, and picked up a fumble and returned it for a touchdown. So Sumter's they seem to be clicking right now. I mean, the offense has been tremendous all year, and the defense I believe, has steadily gotten better. West was 4-1 coming in. And Sumter handled them pretty good. I know they were considered to be a challenge to Sumter in the region, and Sumter took care of them pretty handily. Sumter's now 7-0, 3-0 in Region 5 and Region 5 5A, and they're off next week. Then they play Blythewood the following week, and West is now 4-2. They're 1-1 in the region, if I'm remembering correctly, and they play Blythewood next week. So the opponents for both of them is Blythewood, their next games.
How many rushing yards did you say? I heard you say 530 total. How many on the ground?
Let's see, 469.
469. Wow. How good is that offensive line?
It's good. I mean, they just do a great job. Barnes is head coach Mark Barnes. He and his staff they work them really hard, train them hard, and there aren't any just massive guys there. I mean, they've got good size, but not great. But they've just done a very good job with them, and they've got talented backs in Fortune and Peebles, and then Richardson's just a sophomore, and I think he's got a chance to be something really special before he graduates from something.
Well, it sounds like it, and they're having a special season. Dennis, we got to hit the break, man. But thank you for checking in with us, and we'll hear from you next week from somewhere, I hope.
Okay, Phil.
Thank you, Dennis Brunson, High School Sports Report. Details on that Sumter win. Boy, Sumter. We don't talk as much about Sumter when David joins us. We'll have to. When we talk about Somerville, and we talk about Dutch Fork, and we talk about West Side, and few of the other, of course, Gaffney this year. And Sumter's got to be in that conversation. Not only are they beating people, they're mauling people, 63-25. Myrtle Beach went on to beat St. James 37-14. River Bluff and White Knoll, they're in overtime with River Bluff leading 24-21. Ridgeview has finished off Spring Valley 54-14. And we'll be back.
This is Ian with AccuClean. With fall quickly approaching, AccuClean knows that it can be all too easy for kids and pets to track in mud, grass, and leaves. Luckily, we know the solution. Now is the perfect time to get your carpets, rugs, and upholstery cleaned as it extends the freshness and life. AccuClean is a veteran-owned and local carpet cleaning company located in the Midlands for over 20 years. Be sure to give us a call at AccuClean today at 803-957-1202 to make sure your carpets are refreshed approaching this season. That's AccuClean at 803-957-1202. We'll see you soon.
With 7 locations in the Midlands, Groucho's Deli has been crafting award-winning culinary delights for over 80 years. Bite into the legendary STP Dipper or Apollo and let the unique flavors of My Wife's Salad dressed in our famous Formula 45 sauce enchant you. Don't just dream about it. Taste the #Groucho's goodness today. Whether you're looking for comfort at your doorstep or a cozy corner in our deli, we're always just a click or a step away. Groucho's Deli, your neighborhood deli. Taste the good at Grouchos.com.
With SRN News, I'm Ron Taylor. Nearly 700,000 homes and businesses in the Southeast are still without power, more than a week after Hurricane Helene blew through the region. Most of the outages are in the Carolinas and Georgia. At least 200 people died in the storm, and crews are still trying to reach people who haven't been accounted for in some hard-to-reach areas. Israel has carried out a series of punishing airstrikes in the southern suburbs of Beirut. Strikes have also cut off the main border crossing between Lebanon and Syria for tens of thousands fleeing Israeli bombardment. The overnight blasts in Beirut's southern suburbs sent huge plumes of smoke and flames into the night sky and shook buildings miles away in the Lebanese capital. President Biden decided to pop in and take questions at the White House briefing earlier. For the first time, he strode in with a grin after a strong monthly jobs report of the temporary settlement of the strike workers, port workers. The president has been less than his recent predecessors to questions from the White House press corps. This is SRN News.
From the best-selling author.
Want to hear my success story? I'm Fran Halloran, the money coach. I'm celebrating a decade of partnering with The Point. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. I've used The Point to significantly grow my small business. It started with a meeting with Kevin Cohen. Do you own a small business? Are you on a limited budget? No problem. Reach out to Kev at 563-8558. Get a customized plan and start your journey to business growth with The Point today. Success is one call away. Take the leap.
Hello, this is Stacy Huff, host of Huff Nation Sports Zone, each and every Saturday, 10 to 11 a.m. right here on 100.7 FM, The Point, and also 1470 a.m. It'll be a fun trip around the world of sports. Huff Nation Sports Zone, check it out.
It's only been a 2-game sample size so far, but the Panthers' offense has taken a dramatic leap with veteran quarterback Andy Dalton at the controls. I'm Jim Zoki with the Panthers update after this.
The only way to be your best self is with your best health. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before, so that you can enjoy more of the moments you love. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully with Atrium Health.
Veteran quarterback Andy Dalton has made an immediate impact on the Panthers' offense. as over the past 2 weeks, they're ranked 5th in the league in yards and 6th in the league with over 30 points per game. Dalton has thrown 5 touchdown passes and just 1 interception in those games. And he says despite second-year quarterback Bryce Young taking a seat, they have continued to be supportive of each other.
It's meant so much for him to handle the situation the way he has, and for him to still have so much support for not only me, but for this team. I mean, he's still doing a lot of the same things that he was doing before, the switch happened. It's just the type of person he is that wasn't going to change based off of his situation. And so I've been really appreciative of that.
Last Sunday, Dalton faced his original team of 9 years, Cincinnati. This Sunday, he's taking on another one of his former teams at Chicago and has some additional personal motivation to come away victorious.
The thing is, Chicago is one of the teams that I haven't beaten in my career. There's only a couple of them. I think there's 3 left, and unfortunately, one of them is the Carolina Panthers, so I'm not going to be able to do that. But yeah, Chicago and Dallas, another team that I played for, is another one that I haven't beat. So, yeah, I think that's kind of the bigger thing.
The Panthers have never won a regular season game at Chicago. I'm Jim Zoki on the Carolina Panthers Radio Network, presented by Morris Jenkins.
Local in the morning, afternoon, and evening. Columbia's local talk radio experience. 107 The Point.
Make thepointradio.com.
The Point.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the High School Football Scoreboard on the Sports Talk Media Network, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Irmo 34-8 over Lexington. That's gone final. Goose Creek edges Wando 21-20. Rock Hill beats Fort Mill 28-23. Northwestern 57, Clover 23, North Myrtle 24, Conway 14. Indian Land 36, Nation Ford 27. Somerville 77, Stall 6. And we have Dutch Fork laying it on Chapin 63-10. Carolina Forest over Socastee 37-3. Lucy Beckham over Cane Bay 30-22. Dorman and Boiling Springs canceled. Berkeley 30, Stratford 22. In the fourth quarter, Ashley Ridge leading Fort Dorchester 41-35. Greenwood defeated Malden 35-22. And with that, I think we've hit on all the most recent scores and the most recent updates. This South Point win over Camden, just can't get over how one-sided it was. 64-0, the Stallions winning there. Richland Northeastern Dreer 21-21. Last update we got on that one, so we're waiting on another update on that one. And let's see if anything else here to tell you about. Sherrod beats Andrew Jackson 21-20. North Central over Chesterfield, fourth quarter 40-35. Barnwell over Lake Marion 38-16. Andrews 42-6 over Academic Magnet. Atlantic Collegiate 27, Marion nothing. Okay, Lake City over Mullins 49-14. Marlboro County beat Ainer 41-8. Still waiting on the final on Dillon and Loris 27-23. Dillon leading fourth quarter. Last score we had there. Let's get back out to the fields. We'll get some more updates on those scores for you. And it is Ron Scarborough up in the upstate with Belton Honeypath information. BHP. Ron, what you got?
Hey, Phil, how you doing?
We're doing fine. You out of the ball game tonight?
No, Phil, I'm unable to get out. But, I listen to Joel K on the radio. And
oh, my gosh, Joel K. How many years for Joel K doing BHP?
God. What is it? I don't know. Is it 39?
Long time.
I'll tell you what, I'll ask him and give you a buzz Monday. Just a few. You gave the score, just a few stats on the game. West Oak had 5 first downs. BHP had 15. Total yards, West Oak only 77. And passing yards, West Oak attempted one out of three for -2 yards. How about that?
Wow.
Now, let me ask you this. I thought I knew high school football, but undoubtedly I don't. Okay, the second half of the BHP game tonight, the clock ran. Even on when somebody scored a touchdown, the clock kept running. And now, is this something that the coaches get together and decide at halftime, or does the official do it? The score at halftime was, I think it was 48 to nothing at halftime.
Yeah, it's something the coaches do, not the officials. They go to the officials and tell them, hey, we agreed second half, keep the clock running. So that's a coaching thing.
Yeah, so they ran a running clock in the second half. Well,
Yeah.
you gave the score. Oh, I'm glad to hear about your son Larry doing really well.
Who's this?
Your son Larry.
My son, Larry. Oh, you mean Gamecock Larry?
Larry, Gamecock Larry. You messed up my joke, Phil.
I get it. He is doing well. He sounds like he's going to go to the Gamecock game tomorrow, so that's a good sign.
I hope he has a good time. I sure do.
All right, Ron. Hey,
Man.
you keep in touch with us, and thanks for the update on that information. I appreciate that. And you tell Joel K. we said hello.
I sure do that. All right, Phil.
buddy.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. All right, that's Ron Scarborough, longtime broadcaster in the upstate. And I got to believe Joel K's been doing BHP football, about as long as we've been doing our stuff. He's around 35, 40 years, I think. Hunter Connor Tyler beat Wagner Sally 22-20. That one's gone final. Crossover St. John 70-0. Johnsonville in the little rivalry game. You know, Johnsonville and Hemingway, they're only 6 miles apart on, is that Highway 41, I think, maybe? Johnsonville 50, Hemingway nothing. Lakeview beat Hannah Pamplico 30-7. Hammond 65, Lawrence Manning 14. First Baptist 41, John Paul II 22. Jeff Davis 46, Cathedral 16. Thomas Sumter edged Clarendon Hall 7-6. Northside Christian 14-12 over Providence Athletics. Pinewood Prep 49, Wilson Hall 7. PD 42, Hilton Head Prep 15. Dorchester Academy 48, Lee Academy 6. Thomas Hayward 51, Patrick Henry 33. Chester over Eau Claire 56-0. Lee Central beat Great Falls 54-12. Okay, back to folks out in their fields tonight. Taylor Novinger, the voice of Crestwood High School, joining us with the story on his game tonight. Hey, Taylor, welcome in. What you got?
How you doing, Phil? I tell you, the Crestwood Knights got a victory tonight, man. It was good to see. They fought a 1-2 in region play. They beat Wilson 28-8. Wilson and Crestwood both struggled moving the football throughout the whole game. In the first quarter, Crestwood was struggling, Wilson was struggling, and finally Crestwood got it in plus territory, knocked it in a couple times, and it was 21-0 at half. Things looked like it was going to be a blowout, but Wilson Tigers buckled their chin strap up, Phil, and they came out and gave it. They made a quarterback change, put their wide receiver in at quarterback, very elusive, got Wilson downfield, and they scored after a huge safety, and it made it 21-9 to enter the fourth quarter with Wilson with the ball. They couldn't do anything, and Jordan Minkins for Crestwood got the last touchdown and put the Crestwood Knights up 28-8 to end the ball game. So big win for the Crestwood Knights, Phil.
It sounds like it. What's that do for their record?
So they get to 3-4 overall, but no 1-2 in region play. So, and they play Hartsville next week. So we host Hartsville next week. So it'll be a tough matchup.
Yeah, no question about it. And off the top of your head, who were a couple of the standout statistical leaders for Crestwood tonight? Can you recall some of those?
Yes, sir. Jeremy Richardson, wide receiver, I think needs to get more looks. Phil, he returned a punt for a touchdown tonight, but it got called back. He caught 2 touchdown passes and did a very nice job on the perimeter jet sweeps he had. I mean, he had a 65-yard jet sweep that was called back. Last week he returned a kickoff for a touchdown. So Jeremy Richardson's probably a standout wide receiver I think more people should have their eye on.
All right. Sounds good. Taylor, as always, man, we really appreciate it. Have yourself a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Good job.
Yes, sir. Hopefully the Gamecocks win tomorrow. We'll see, Phil.
Okay, buddy. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's going to be a good ball game. Gamecocks and Ole Miss. We shall see. Gamecocks pinning a lot on that game. Got a lot of big-time recruits coming in trying to impress them, but more importantly, trying to get that 4th win. Let's head over to Chris Deering, who was on hand for Dutch Fork and Chapin tonight. You know, every time you think somebody's going to play Dutch Fork close, they murder them. And that was the case tonight. Chris, no contest once again.
Yeah, no contest, Phil. This one was probably over the middle of the first quarter. Dutch Fork kicked off to Chapin to start the ball game. Chapin had to punt 5 plays in, and Jaden Westbrook takes the punt return about 60 yards down to the 1-yard line. Maurice Anderson scores on the very next play. Dutch Fork goes up 7-0. Next Chapin series, Elgin Sessions, the West Virginia commit, steps in front of a pass and returns it 40 yards for a touchdown. 14-0 Dutch Fork, and then Westbrook does it again on another punt. Chapin has to punt on the 3rd series. He takes it to the 2-yard line on that time, and Maurice Anderson again scores on the first play. So it's 21-0 about 6.5 minutes into the game, and Dutch Fork's run 2 offensive plays. So from there, it was just all Dutch Fork. Maurice Anderson finished with 5 touchdowns all in the first half, and just a dominating performance by this team. You know, I hate to say this, but you know, last year they lost some games in the regular season and they got right in the playoffs and won a championship. This team's clicking on all cylinders, and this could be tough for somebody in Class 5A to beat them.
Wow. I mean, you think right now would you take them over, say, Sumter or Somerville or Gaffney, any of those guys?
I think so because, you know, they've given up. You know, they gave up 10 points tonight, and they were not happy about that. That was only the second touchdown they've given up all season. They've given up 17 points now. This team, again, I told somebody in the pregame, I was on the sideline just watching them. This team has a confidence about them that, you know, I've seen Tom Knott's team since he came to Columbia, and this team has a little bit of a confidence about them that I've not seen before. You know, Ethan Offing's playing really good at quarterback. Maurice Anderson, I think, is a very underrated running back. They don't have to do a lot with that defense. And somebody's going to have to score in the 20s at least, I think, to beat them. And I don't know that many teams out there can score 21, 28 points on this Dutch Fork team right now. And that's just a testament to what they do. Scott Braswell, the defensive coordinator, he really has got that defense playing all over. They're going all over the field. You know, Josh Smith, he just got offered by South Carolina. Ole Miss was here tonight. They were watching him, and they offered him earlier in the day, I believe. So just big-time players on that Dutch Fork defense.
Wow. I was going to ask you about Smith, your take on him, your evaluation of him.
You know, he's long, he's lean, he flies around to the football. The first time I got to see Dutch Fork this year, I was really impressed. I watched him on certain plays just to see what he was going to do. And, you know, high football IQ and just athletic. So he's going to be, wherever he ends up going, he's going to be a good get for somebody. You know, he was committed to Coastal Carolina. Now he's got the Power 4 schools in on him. And like I said, I talked to the Ole Miss defensive line coach that was here tonight, and they're really impressed with him.
Yeah. Okay, my man. We thank you very much. Appreciate it. Talk to you next week. Enjoy your weekend.
Yes, sir. You do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. From the Prep Red Zone, Chris Deering with the story there on Dutch Fork. So he thinks Dutch Fork, justifiably so. I mean, how can you discount Dutch Fork? You never discount Dutch Fork. Okay. Hey, remember David Shelton? His name's on the billboard of this show. I think he'll be joining us here, won't he? Hopefully, after this break. Get his thoughts on things and more reports and more scores coming up. Be right back.
Some insurance carriers are based in another state or only have an online presence. Not at Farm Bureau Insurance. They're a local South Carolina company that believes commitment comes with a handshake. Become part of the Farm Bureau Insurance family today by calling Buddy Bridges at 864-984-0413 or stop by the Upstate office at 726 East Main Street in Lawrence.
Set your youth up for a lifetime of financial success with Smart Start from Founders Federal Credit Union. Smart Start products and educational resources help teach kids and teens the basics of saving, budgeting, and smart spending. Help them learn smart money skills to jumpstart their financial journey with Smart Start savings, debit, certificates, and educational resources. Learn more at foundersfcu.com/smartstart. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosteller Brown. Did you know it's possible to avoid probate court after you die, regardless of what you own? Why put your loved ones through a long, stressful public process when there are better options for your family? Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Touchstone Energy Cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of Co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
We are back on the high school football scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Great to have you with us tonight across South Carolina. There is a lot of good football action taking place tonight. Let's welcome in David Shelton, our expert analyst from the High School Sports Report and the Charleston Post and Courier. David, welcome in. Tell us about your game tonight. It was not one of the more exciting games in the state tonight.
No, it was a good game for about a quarter and a half. It's 7-7 with about 6 minutes to go, and then Oceanside popped 3 touchdowns in the last 6 minutes. Hanahan did some bad things. They down 14-7. They tried a fake punt from their own 30. That didn't work out. And the next play, Oceanside scores, and then Hanahan was trying to go down and score before the half, and they fumbled, and Oceanside picked it up, ran it back for a touchdown. Aiden Manavian, quarterback for Oceanside, threw 5 touchdown passes. He's got all his weapons now. All his receivers are healthy, and they're gonna be a tough out in the playoffs. I don't think they're gonna lose again in the regular season. And with those receivers all healthy, and they got a little bit of a running game, and obviously a veteran quarterback that's been there, done that, I think they're going to be a team to consider in the lower state.
Usually they are. Not surprised at all. They're kicking it in the high gear. Okay, stand by, David. Let me hit a few other scores here. Manning has defeated King Street 28-22. Lake City over Mullins 49-14. Loris beat Dillon tonight. This game went back and forth in the fourth quarter. The Lions, they win it 30-27.
Yeah, I mean, we thought it was going to be close. It's 2 really good teams, very competitive with each other, and came down to the end, and Loris pulled it out. So not an upset, but Dillon's got a couple losses here in a row now. So I think they got to go back to the drawing board and figure something out.
I wonder if that loss to Socastee kind of woke up Loris, because that was a big surprise, and they come out and beat Dillon the way they did at home. That's saying something.
Yeah, I'm sure it woke them up, but they just played better. They didn't have 100 penalties, and when you don't have a bunch of penalties, and you're a good football team, you usually give yourself a chance to win. And they almost beat Socastee with all the penalties they had. So obviously they cleaned up some stuff, but they're a good football team.
Yep. Waccamaw beat Georgetown 36-20. That one's gone final. Union County over Mountain View 37-23. Louisville over C.A. Johnson 21-14. And see if there's anything else here that's new. North Central defeats Chesterfield 40-35. And Cheraw over Andrew Jackson 21-20. Belton Honeypath 55-6 over West Oak. May River big over Colleton County 42-6. Bluffton beat Beaufort 42-35. South Florence over Darlington 60-6. All right, back out to the fields. David, hang on as we continue to hear from folks. Let's go to Thomas Grant. Thomas Grant from the Prep Zone joins us, and he was at that Irmo game tonight, where Irmo looks very, very good once again. Thomas, looks like a team on a mission right now, this Irmo club.
Yeah, definitely so. Coach, even though the score sort of looked like it was probably one of the lowest scoring games of this year, and as Coach Brand said, it seems like when this team, when they come off a bye, they're not as sharp as they need to. In fact, this game was actually scoreless after one quarter. Lexington, to their credit, really came out hard defensively, forced a couple of 3-and-outs. They have a couple of guys on that defense, in particular, Renzo Cadio at defensive back. His mission tonight was to guard Donovan Murph.
Yeah.
And he really had his hands full for the most part. Donovan ended up getting like 8 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown, but he didn't make it easy for him. They also have a linebacker in Matthew McCauley. He's probably one of the hardest hitting linebackers that you see on the field. But tonight it was all about, you could say it was all about the Irmo defense for the most part. They took an early 7-0 lead in the second quarter on a touchdown run by Aaron Brand. But just 59 seconds later, Matthew Blocker inches up Brendan Carter and near midfield and returns for a touchdown. They missed the PAT to make it 13-0. They get a field goal before the half to go up 16-0. As the second half begins, Carter throws the first of 2 interceptions to Jamar Grissett. This other one sets up the 2-yard touchdown catch by Donovan Murph from Brand to put him up 23-0. Now, Lexington finally got a score on a touchdown pass from Carter to Zarek Owens, who also scored on the 2-point conversion. But from that point on, it was all Irmo. Irmo tacked on one more touchdown on a touchdown run by Amir White. And then the last 2 scores they got were on safeties, on 2 bad snaps from the center over the quarterback. So that's when it went to 34-8 score. But also defensively, not just their secondary really stood out, but they got a sophomore in Jaden Bryant, who's just really the guy literally has a motor. He's about 6'4", about 260, and Lexington tried to even put 2 tight ends to try to block him, and it was no luck. And he was just finding his way into the backfield the entire time. So when you have a team that's so balanced defensively and on offense, that's why they're probably one of the 3 best teams in the Division II category when it comes to the state, when you're looking ahead to the state tournament. But, of course, with the way this region is right now, they're only one of 3 undefeated teams in the region, and that's with Irmo, River Bluff, and Dutch Fork. So next week, Irmo and River Bluff play each other next week. And then you have Lexington, they go to Chapin.
Got some good ball games coming up in the Midlands, no doubt about it. Thomas, thank you for being with us. Really appreciate it, man. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too, and go Yankees.
Yes, sir. That's one thing we can agree about. Go Yankees. Thank you, Thomas. Thomas Grant from Prep Red Zone. David, Rock Hill beat Fort Mill 28-23. Northwestern rolled it up on Clover 57-23. This might be the upset of the night, David. And it was Dreer in overtime handing Richland Northeast their first loss 35-34. What about the job Corey Jenkins is doing at Dreer? Maybe his biggest win there.
Oh, without a doubt. Got them believing. And this is why I talk about all through the doldrums of September about region play. And this is the kind of stuff that happens in region play. I don't care if you're 5-0, 6-0, ranked number 4. You don't show up in your region, you're going to get your butt kicked. And Dreer handed it to Northeast tonight. And I thought I heard you say Union County beat Mountain View Prep.
You did.
That's another pretty big upset.
Yeah. If these scores are accurate, we're taking them at their word here, but that's the score that we do have on that game. Goose Creek beat Wando 21-20, and North Myrtle Beach over Conway 24-14. And Carolina Forest beat Socastee 37-3. We got more coming up. Top of the hour, Founders Federal Football Scoreboard.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107.
Yeah, and Mountain View was undefeated and had been beaten up on people. I'm interested to know how that game played out as well. I look forward to reading some of that on Twitter later.
Belton Honeypath all over West Oak, 55-6. Obviously, a lot of upstate games postponed tonight because of the weather. Northwestern was a big winner over Clover. Got to get that one plotted on my sheet, but I do know that they won. And also, Greenwood beat Malden tonight 35-22. So they were able to get that game in and completed, and Greenwood won it 35-22. And we'll get you more upstate scores if there are more available as we can put our eyes on them. Let's go to the Midlands, where there were many more games played for the most part. Sherrod beat Andrew Jackson 21-20. Bamberg Earhart over Hardyville 47-0. In overtime, Dreer defeated Richland Northeast 35-34. Dutch Fork 63, Chapin 10. Barnwell 38, Lake Marion 16. Irmo 34, Lexington 8, North Central 40, Chesterfield 35. In overtime, River Bluff beat White Knoll 24-21. What's your take on that one? River Bluff 24, White Knoll 21 in overtime.
That's a good win. That's their best win so far. They had a good record, but they really hadn't played a difficult schedule. So White Knoll was obviously a difficult opponent. So that's a big win for River Bluff.
Yep, White Knoll always playing good defense, but River Bluff put 24 on the board in overtime, 24-21. Ridgeview, big over Spring Valley, 54-14. Ridgeview team's very good. They had the receiver, Jordan Gidron, today, David, announce a commitment to South Carolina while also reclassifying in the 2025 class, and he's a speedy guy, gives them a heck of a threat on the outside there if you get the football to him.
Yeah, but he won't get the football this year. So
that's true.
He's rehabbing the knee. They would be a totally different team if he were available. I mean, that's a big loss for them when you look into the playoffs. You got to have those guys.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know. Is he out for the season, or do you think he might get back later in the season?
I don't know. When it happened, I heard he was out for the season. I thought it was a torn ACL, and I could be wrong, but I thought that's what it was.
Yeah. Hunter Connor Tyler beat Wagner Sally 22-20. In the PD Grand Strand tonight, it was Atlantic Collegiate 27, Marion nothing. In overtime, Latta 34, Carvers Bay 28, Central 47, Buford nothing. We know North Myrtle Beach beat Conway. Got to find that score and get it on our sheet, but I know I've said it a few times, and I know here it is. North Myrtle Beach won over Conway 24-14. That final. It was Johnsonville 50, Hemingway nothing, Manning 28, Kingstree 22, Lakeview 30, Hannah-Pamplico 7, Loris 30, Dillon 27. What do you think of this Loris team, David? What kind of damage can they do in the postseason?
Well, they can do as much as anybody. I mean, they're a quality top 10 team. They play defense. They score enough. When they don't have penalties, they're pretty dang good. And it's a good win. You beat Dillon. That's a playoff type win. But we got a lot of football to play yet. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, yep. Is Dillon down a little bit? You think because a quarterback transferred out, lost the terrific left tackle in Thompson? Are they maybe down just a notch or two this season, talent-wise?
I mean, they still have talent, and they still are very good. They lost to Hartsville. Basically, special teams killed them there, and then they lose a close game tonight. So I think losing the quarterback hurt initially, but I think they recover from that. They run the football and play defense anyway. That's how they try to win. But it's another one of those teams that when you get to November, you got to keep your eye on.
Okay, let's give you some more finals from the PD. It was Waccamaw 36, Georgetown 20, Johnsonville 50, Hemingway nothing, Manning 28, Kingstree 22, Lakeview 30, Hannah-Pamplico 7, Marlboro County 41, Aner 8. Marlboro County having a great start to the season. I think they're 6-0. Lamar 56, McBee 7, Lake City 49, Mullins 14, Myrtle Beach 37, St. James 14, Carolina Forest with a big win over Socastee. And we'll get the story on that from Matt Smith coming up here shortly. And that final score was something to 3. It was many to 3. I just haven't plotted the score on our sheet yet. Let's see if I can scroll it up here real quick while I've got that particular score in front of me. No, we'll have to find it here momentarily because I can't just put my eyes on it very quickly as I'm stalling. And we'll come back to that. But I can tell you that the Carolina Forest won that one handily. South Florence beat Darlington 60-6. Sumter, big over West Florence, 63-25. And Crestwood beat Wilson 28-8. Around the Low Country, Andrews 42, Academic Magnet 6, Bluffton 42, Beaufort 35, May River 42, Colleton County 6, Cross 70, St. John's nothing, Goose Creek 21, Wando 20, Oceanside 49, Hanahan 7, Lucy Beckham 30, Cane Bay 22, Somerville 77, Stall 6, West Ashley 10, James Island 6. David, we had Coach Bonneville on from May River after that 42-6 win over Colleton County, talking about the new offense he's running this year, kind of a wing bone, under center, what they do like at Hartsville, and apparently they're doing it well. They ran it well tonight, he said. They only threw a couple of passes.
Yeah, they don't throw it much. They operate very quickly. They warp speed, and it's an option wing type offense with a slot. And you see some people like Hartsville use that, Abbeville, I guess, a little bit. But yeah, it's working for them because they're undefeated, and teams are having a hard time keeping up with them, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you don't see that offense a lot, so I guess it's kind of hard to prepare for. Skeeza, Jeff Davis, 46, Cathedral, 16, and Dorchester Academy, 48, Lee Academy, 6, First Baptist, 41, John Paul II, 22, Hammond, 65, Lawrence Manning, 14, Northside Christian, 14, Palmetto Athletic Club, 12, and Hilton Head Prep, 52, PD Academy, 42, Pinewood Prep, 49, Wilson Hall, 7, Thomas Hayward, 51, Patrick Henry, 33, and Thomas Sumter, 7, Clarendon Hall, 6. All right, we've got Coach Early on the line. Coach, hang on. We're going to get to you in just a second. Matt Smith has been hanging on for a while, and so after his game tonight with Socastee, and he joins us to give us the, I'm sure it won't be a very long recap from his standpoint because Socastee took it on the old chin tonight, Smitty.
Yes. And the score you were looking for, Corn, was 37-3.
37.
Carolina Forest. Yeah. So for those keeping score at home, and now it was an odd night because Coach Ben Hampton for Socastee wasn't there tonight. He has an illness in the family, and so he wasn't able to be on the sideline for Socastee tonight. And they were obviously just a bit out of sorts with the circumstances. They've been rallying to the football, playing hard-nosed defense all season. Didn't look that way tonight. And Carolina Forest, of course, they have a lot to prove. They've started out slowly, played a very difficult schedule in the early part in the non-region schedule. And as David Shelton was alluding to just a minute ago, everything's different in region play. And Carolina Forest is trying to show that they're still the Carolina Forest of their reputation, trying to live up to that reputation and being one of the best teams in Horry County. And they looked like it tonight. I'll tell you, Jaron Fox, Corn, you'll remember this name. To me, as soon as I saw him in the first quarter, shades of D. Feaster. He had more than 200 yards rushing by the beginning of the third quarter. We lost count. He may have run for 300 yards tonight. A lot of counter trey from Carolina Forest, the old Joe Gibbs play, something Sumter runs a lot, and Carolina Forest counter trade Socastee's defense to death. And then the speed option, kind of a counter off of that. They got Jaron Fox into space, and I have no idea how that Carolina Forest club was beaten 3 times, but they didn't look like it tonight. They were firing on all cylinders. Socastee takes its fourth loss, and they've got North Myrtle Beach next week. So I think that region's going to be up for grabs. I think, with the scores you're seeing, you mentioned North Myrtle Beach beating Conway, and I don't know if Myrtle Beach is a vintage Mickey Wilson team. So I think this region is going to be very interesting over the next 5 weeks.
All right, Smitty. Thank you very much, man. Enjoy your trip to Columbia tomorrow to watch the Gamecocks and Ole Miss. And we'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Okay, Matt Smith does the play-by-play for Socastee. They've had kind of an up-and-down season, some high marks and some low ones, and they took it on the chin tonight. We're going to hit the break, and Coach Scott Early will join us on the other side. You're listening to the High School Football Scoreboard across the state. Brought to you by Founders Federal. Be right back.
Founders Federal Credit Union believes in empowering future generations, helping to provide our youth a smart start as they begin their financial journey. Discover Start by Founders. Start off with Smart Start savings with a low minimum balance of just $5. Teach responsible spending with a free debit card, text alerts, and no minimum balance. Jumpstart a lifetime of saving and investing with a Smart Start 12-month certificate featuring flexible deposits. Start with just $100 and add more deposits at any time. Finally, dive in deeper with fun educational resources. Founders is excited to team up with you with resources and support to give our youth a smart start towards a brighter tomorrow. Learn more at foundersfcu.com/smartstart. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hostetler Brown. Helping an aging loved one arrange for their care can be one of the most difficult things you will ever do. Fortunately, you don't have to navigate this maze alone. Lawyer Lisa's knowledgeable life care team can lead you down the right path. Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. Whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with the family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at scattle.org. Beef, it's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff Program.
We are back on the High School Football Scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Phil Kornbluth, Josh Cohen, and David Shelton. Now joined by Coach Scott Early, Executive Director, South Carolina Athletic Coaches Association. Great to have you with us. Ordinarily, you'd be out at a ball game, but no ball game for you tonight.
No, Phil, there was actually only one in the western part of the state, BHP and West Oak. So we just kind of stayed home tonight and actually watched Twister just to catch up on the devastation that's happened in the western part of the state.
Yeah. What's it looking like in the future, immediate future up there for getting the season going again for these schools?
Well, I mean, we've got, Aiken and Augusta area that might not go back to school for 2 or 3 weeks. So we got some dire, serious situations, and we got some people that hopefully when they get, the power back on, they'll be able to resume. But it's sort of, I don't know, tell of two tales. For years we've dealt with this in the eastern part of the state. We've always kind of put the brakes on, let everybody catch up. So this is unforeseen. I think the main thing is it's unprecedented. So when something unprecedented happens, there's always uncertainty. But with that being said, it's the state right now is divided into sort of half of two worlds. So
yeah, those who are playing and those who can't. You put out a letter this week that you sent to the high school league requesting a 2-week shutdown of all athletic activities. Can you expand on that? What was your thinking behind that? Who are you referencing? Are you referencing the entire state shutting down, or just those affected in the upstate and in like Aiken County, those areas hard hit where they can't go to school? What was your thinking there?
Well, I mean, people assume it only affects the upper state, but actually Aiken County is in the lower state. So you're either going to have to hurry up or you're going to have to wait. And, you know, we set a precedent in 2016 with, you know, what we did then with backing the season up. And I know you remember because me and you were on the radio. We played the Touchstone Energy Bowl at the same time the Shrine Bowl was being played. I mean, the state championship was being played. And, you know, those kids didn't have opportunity to play an all-star game, but you had opportunity to finish your season to clarify clear-cut playoff winners and state championships. And the only disadvantage was the kids that were playing the state championship were not able to participate in all-star games. But on the other side of that coin, it allowed the opportunity for a lot of other student athletes that, you know, wouldn't have had that opportunity to have that opportunity. And when you look at fall sports, you know, in my role, you know, volleyball, golf, tennis, cross, those sports compete 2 to 3 times a week. So when you stack them up, you end up playing 5 nights a week for 3 weeks just to complete a region qualifier. So it's puzzling to me to see Georgia and North Carolina make that move and us not. But like I said, it's unprecedented. You know, I think our soil and foliage and the saturation that happened before Helene created some huge problems, and we're not equipped up here for 80-mile-an-hour winds. And I've been through and seen some communities that, and again, I'm glad the people that got to played tonight, but they were, you know, upwards of 30 games canceled. 29 of those didn't play last week. So either way you slice the cake, you're going to have people waiting at the end. You can either slow down now or you can wait at the end. And I mean, coaching for as long as I did, I would hate to be one of those teams that played tonight, and at the end of the year, I've got to sort of sit and practice for 2 weeks waiting on everybody to catch up. And I think that's a disadvantage of some of the really good teams in the eastern part of the state. And I think we had a lot of support down there for, you know, for doing for them what they had done to us. But so far it hasn't worked out like that. But now here we got a meeting on Tuesday that might, you know, make things better or worse, depending on what happens.
So who makes a decision here? This is strictly a high school league decision, executive committee. Who makes the decision on what to do?
Well, I mean, it can be a commissioner's decision, but I think, you know, we sent an email on Sunday and again on Monday, sort of trying to prevent a problem instead of solve it. And now we're, you know, have played tonight, and volleyball has went on. Other things have went on, and now they're saying there's going to be a meeting on Tuesday. But and again, it's unprecedented, so it's a little bit different. And I'm assuming that's why that occurred, and hopefully something good will happen Tuesday to, you know, you always hear about competitive ballots and with all that goes on in the state, and this is a really uncompetitive ballot situation that hopefully will get rectified on Tuesday.
Yeah. David Shelton, you got a question for Coach Early?
Yeah, Coach, I have been in the camp of probably the minority. I guess everybody thinks I'm foolish, but I did not see the need to make a decision this past week. I said, let's wait, find out how many games we're going to miss, find out where everybody's going to be early next week. Executive committee will make a decision. It's going to happen. I told Phil tonight on Sports Talk, it's going to get pushed back, whether it's a pause now or next week or a pause at the end. I just didn't see the need for everybody to like, we got to do it. We know we're going to do it. I mean, this is an obvious decision. There is no way next week the high school league is going to go, you know what? We're not going to move nothing. Y'all just figure it out. That's just not going to happen. And we know that. So I was just kind of like, let's just take a deep breath and let people go over some options. Your option is to pause now. Other people have say, hey, I'd rather do it at the end of the year. You talk about teams at the end of the year that would have a break before the playoff. Well, what about those teams that are red hot right now? Now they got 2 weeks off, like Oceanside Collegiate didn't play last week. They played this week. Let's say we went into a pause for 2 weeks. They're going to play one game in a month. I don't know how fair that is to them. But having said that, I think you got to do something, and I think something will be done. I just didn't see I never got the impression that it wasn't going to be fixed. I don't know. Maybe that's me just being around for 37 years and seeing how it works.
Well, I think that's hypothetical, but I think if you look at history, and again, my job is to represent over 8,000 members of the Coach Association. I've had text calls, voicemails, emails, can you help us? And that's my job to try to do so. And when I was in the eastern part of the state, a lot of days, in Greenville, Easley, and Pickens, where the sun was out and everybody kind of understood there's some devastation happening, we're going to all wait. So I kind of side on the other side of that coin, but we can agree to disagree.
Well, I mean, I agree with you. I'm saying it's going to happen, and I think it ought to happen. I just didn't think it needed to happen this week when we're still trying to find out if we're going to play that. There were teams that played tonight that I was told was not going to play tonight. So, that could be the case Friday night. We could have 8 more teams playing Friday night that we didn't think were going to play. So, it's let's wait and see what happens, and we'll give everybody the opportunity to finish their season. Absolutely. Well, I agree with you on that.
All right, hang on, Coach. We got to hit a quick break. David, hang on. Got some folks waiting to give reports as well. We'll get into all that when we come back from the break. Don't go away.
This is Fran Halloran, the Money Coach. Grow with the point as we build on 10 incredible years of community local radio. We've built an environment where our listeners are our family. Are you a small business with big dreams? Join the tremendous stable of advertisers at the Connect with Kevin Cohen and brainstorm a tailored strategy to escalate your business growth using the powerful platform of The Point. Call Kev directly at 563-8558. Teaming with The Point, you can make the next year your best year.
With 7 locations in the Midlands, Groucho's Deli has been crafting award-winning culinary delights for over 80 years. Bite into the legendary STP Dipper or Apollo and let the unique flavors of My Wife's Salad dressed in our famous Formula 45 sauce enchant you. Don't just dream about it. Taste the hashtag Groucho's goodness today. Whether you're looking for comfort at your doorstep or a cozy corner in our deli, we're always just a click or a step away. Groucho's Deli, your neighborhood deli. Taste the good at Grouchos.com.
With SRN News, I'm Ron Taylor. The International Association of Firefighters has declined to endorse Vice President Kamala Harris, meaning her trip to Michigan Friday came without the national group's official backing. Harris and Donald Trump are trying to get upper hand support with working-class voters in the closing weeks of the presidential campaign. Harris visited a firehouse outside Detroit. Organized labor has been a bedrock of Democratic support, but Donald Trump's eager to make inroads with unions in the election and visited Michigan on Thursday. The union representing 45,000 striking U.S. dock workers at East and Gulf Coast ports have reached a deal to suspend a 3-day strike until January 15th to provide time to negotiate a new contract. The International Longshoremen's Association is to resume working immediately. The temporary end of the strike came after the union and the U.S. Maritime Alliance represents ports and shipping companies reached a tentative agreement on wages. More online at srnnews.com. I'm Ron Taylor.
A lot of times you have to choose.
Hello, this is Stacy Huff, host of Huff Nation Sports Zone, each and every Saturday, 10 to 11 a.m. right here on 100.7 FM, The Point, and also 1470 a.m. It'll be a fun trip around the world of sports. Huff Nation Sports Zone, check it out.
It's only been a 2-game sample size so far, but the Panthers' offense has taken a dramatic leap with veteran quarterback Andy Dalton at the controls. I'm Jim Zoki with a Panthers update after this.
The only way to be your best self is with your best health. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before, so that you can enjoy more of the moments you love. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully with Atrium Health.
Veteran quarterback Andy Dalton has made an immediate impact on the Panthers' offense, as over the past 2 weeks they're ranked 5th in the league in total yards and 6th in the league with over 30 points per game. Dalton has thrown 5 touchdown passes and just 1 interception in those games. Andy says despite second-year quarterback Bryce Young taking a seat, they have continued to be supportive of each other.
It's meant so much for him to handle the situation the way he has, and for him to still have someone support for not only me but for this team. I mean, he's still doing a lot of the same things that he was doing before the switch happened. It's just the type of person he is that wasn't going to change based off of his situation, and so I've been really appreciative of that.
Last Sunday, Dalton faced his original team of 9 years, Cincinnati. This Sunday, he's taking on another one of his former teams at Chicago and has some additional personal motivation to come away victorious.
The biggest thing is Chicago is one of the teams that I haven't beaten in my career. There's only a couple of them. I think there's 3 left, and unfortunately one of them is the Carolina Panthers, so I'm not going to be able to do that. But Chicago and Dallas, another team that I played for, is another one that I haven't beat. So, I think that's kind of the bigger thing.
Panthers have never won a regular season game at Chicago. I'm Jim Zoki on the Carolina Panthers Radio Network, presented by Morris Jenkins.
Struggling to find a fun spot for Fido when vacation calls? Say bon voyage to your worries with a Paws Paradise. Whether it's for a weekend getaway or a full holiday escapade, your furry friend will be wagging with excitement. Daily doggy daycare or extended stays, we make every moment a tail-wagging adventure. Discover more at apawsparadise.com or fetch us a call at 551-0323. It's not just a stay, it's a holiday for your pooch.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
Welcome back, everybody, to the High School Football Scoreboard on the Sports Talk Media Network. A couple more minutes with Coach Scott Early before we get back to some of the outstanding reporters waiting around the state. Sorry, Coach, we had to jump in there at the break. If you wanted to respond to David's question there as we hit the break.
Yeah, I mean, I think I did. I just think that, putting things in perspective, the largest natural disaster ever hit this state was, and I know, Phil, you and Dave remember this, it's Hugo, and, Hugo killed 35 people in the state of South Carolina, and we're up to 59. So I think this is maybe a little misunderstood and a little unprecedented, and hopefully it'll all work out and we can get everybody back on equal schedule and equal playing field and not have an incompetitive imbalance and be able to finish this season out and have our student athletes enjoy our all-star games and enjoy Christmas. So that's my hope.
And as it stands right now, regardless of what happens with the high school regular season and the postseason, the Touchstone Energy Bowl, the Shrine Bowl, they will stay on their dates.
Well, it depends on what happens. I've checked with the folks at the beach, and it could be a situation just like, you remember 2016, and I think that under the circumstances that we went through that year and then all the things we went through in COVID, I think we ought to be able to monitor and adjust and do the same thing and create some equality out of this very tragic situation in the upper state.
One more thing I wanted to ask you about, just to kind of get a quick reaction, because I don't know if this is going to become widespread, but we've seen this week in South Carolina 2 premier high school football players, recruits, big-time recruits, national recruits, both of them juniors, announced that they are going to reclassify for 2025, skip their senior year, go ahead and get into the college experience and everything there. I'm just, from a coaching standpoint, you having been a former coach, now in your current position, I mean, how do you approach that with a high school athlete who feels like they're good enough, they're academically good enough, they feel like athletically they're good enough to go ahead and skip and go right into college? Is that something that high school coaches should encourage? Could that hurt the high school game down the road if this becomes something of a mass exodus sort of thing? And let's keep in mind, let's don't be stupid. We know maybe perhaps, if not a large part of the decision, I can't speak for the kid and the family, but with the opportunity now for these big-time players to go to college and make a lot of money, you start earlier as what you would be your senior year in high school. Now you're getting a jump a year earlier. You got a chance to go make a lot of money. And if it's out there on the table for you, why wouldn't you go jump at it? So my question is this going to be good or bad for high school football, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, it's definitely going to be bad, but, we're in a, what have you done for me lately business? And I'm sure when they see the kid from Alabama that's 17 years old do what do you do against Georgia, it's kind of like back when we wanted to be like Mike. Now they want to be like whoever they see that gets instant gratification. And, I think that's may be great for monetary concerns, but I don't know if it's great for maturity. And I don't know if it's great for the game of high school football. But, it's a different world now. So that's why I'm not on the sideline anymore and a dinosaur and talking to you at night. So
let me ask you this.
I'll leave it at that and not expand on that comment.
Gotcha. One last thing. So a player who decides to do this, who's a junior, then all of a sudden reclassifies for the class that's now a senior class, can they be eligible to be picked for the Shrine Bowl and the Touchstone Energy Bowl?
Well, that's a bridge we've never crossed, but we will, be on top of that. And again, it's not unprecedented times just with Hurricane Helene, but it's unprecedented times in all areas of interscholastic athletics. So we got some challenges to face, and I'm sure we'll be able to work through that and do what's best for the coaches and the kids and the communities in the state of South Carolina.
Yeah. Well, the Shrine Bowl is supposed to announce their team this Sunday. Are they still on with that as far as you know?
As far as I know, I think with what's the devastation in Western North Carolina, probably going to be difficult for the team that wears green, but let's see what happens.
Yeah. All right, Coach.
I talk to those folks, and some of them are not thinking that they'll even be able to complete any of fall sports. So, more than me side here.
Certainly understand. Hey, we thank you. Have a great rest of your night and weekend. We'll talk to you next week. Hopefully you'll be at a ball game.
Hopefully so. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, Coach Scott Early, Executive Director, South Carolina Athletic Coaches Association. So, David, basically, he's just saying wait and see what happens next week, see what the high school league executive committee decides to do, and then they'll go from there, is how I took it.
Yeah, which is basically what I've been saying all during the week. Let's just wait and see. We don't have to make a snap judgment. I'm willing to bet that North Carolina will change their playoff system again. This will not be what they go with. It'll have to, because like you just heard him say, Western North Carolina. I mean, there's going to be a lot of high schools don't even get to play again. Mm-hmm. So they're going to have to revamp things. I don't think we're going to be in that bad a situation in South Carolina, but it is, as he said, unprecedented, and we got to fix it. And I have complete confidence that it will get fixed, hopefully this week. Now, if it drags on past this week, I would probably start scratching my head a little bit. But I think this is the week. If you're going to postpone for 2 weeks, that means nobody plays Friday night. Or maybe they say we play Friday night, but the next 2 Friday nights we don't, and which would probably be what I would think they would do. Because if you just start it this Friday night, some of those teams over in that area where he was talking about may not get enough practice time to play the next week. So my gut is that, okay, we're going to pause, but we're going to play Friday night, and then we're going to take 2 weeks off, and we're going to let everybody catch up, let everybody get in school, let everybody get some power and some food and some practice and catch up their games, and then we'll go with it.
All right. And real quick, just quick answer here because we got folks waiting. I kind of threw him a curveball because I guess obviously he's got bigger things on his mind. But the question about, in particular, Murph and Gidron, who are now in the 25 class, they're seniors now in their mind as far as they work towards their academics and their high school eligibility. They're seniors. Do you think they should be taken by the Shrine Bowl?
I think they should be eligible, yeah.
Okay.
I think if they're seniors and it's a senior game, I think they should be eligible to play.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, I mean, I would say the South Carolina Shrine Bowl team just got a heck of a lot better because those cats are good, aren't they? Well, of course, like you said, Gidron's hurt, so we don't know what his deal is going to be. But certainly, Murph gives him an improvement there at wide receiver, big-time wide receiver. Okay, thank you to everybody who's been holding. Let's go to Garrett Mitchell. Garrett Mitchell, normally up at Woodruff, but apparently made it down to Loris tonight. Is that where you went?
Yeah, you got it right, Phil. I'm not sure you probably thought you would hear from me tonight with Woodruff still on the shelf with the Hurricane Helene. But, look, there's only so many Friday nights without football I can take. And after 7 days with no power, I had to get out there and find a game. And, hey, what better than a top 10 3A matchup, especially when it gets you close to the beach?
No doubt about it. What did you take away from that game? Excellent battle between Loris and Dillon. These are two rivals. They don't like each other. Dillon's used to kind of bossing people around down there, but Loris said not tonight, not on their watch.
Right. Well, I'll throw an amazing number out at you, and it was announced by Loris's public address guy after the game. This is the first time Loris has beaten Dillon since 1968.
Whoa.
So this was a really big deal there. I can tell you that it was a standing room only crowd. It was hard to move around. I got there. I got pulled into the parking lot about 15 minutes before kickoff. Didn't think I was going to get a seat, but the atmosphere was electric. Dillon jumped out 14-0, and it looked like they might very well run off with it. Loris turned it over deep in their own territory twice. Dillon made them pay for it, but then the Lions just started chipping away. 17 unanswered points. They jumped in front. Dillon scored just before the half, went back up 21-17. And then coming out in the third quarter, a great drive from Loris. They took the lead once again. Dillon scored their last touchdown with about 5.5 minutes to play, and that put Dillon back up 27-23. And then Loris took it right down the field, 80 yards, throwing the ball. They had been run heavy all night. They started throwing the ball, took it right down the field, scored with about 3 minutes left. Then the Lions defense made it stand up on that last Dillon drive. So, unbelievable ball game. I can tell you they were having a dance party out behind the baseball field with surround sound speakers after the game. I don't know that the town of Loris is going to get much sleep tonight because you could probably hear them down in Cherry Grove.
Well, did they tear down the goalpost or anything like that?
No, they didn't tear down the goalpost, but I sat with some really nice folks from Loris. It had been about 25 years probably since I'd been in the town. So it was nice to get out, take a 3.5-hour drive, clear the head a little bit, and see a great high school football game. That one will certainly go up on my list of great ones that I've seen. And I think Loris's stadium, I think, is probably in 22 years maybe my 82nd or 83rd stadium that I've visited in South Carolina. So good to cross another one off my list, too.
That's outstanding. That's outstanding. Real quick, what's the prognosis for Woodruff getting back on the field?
So right now, it looks like now we're in limbo for next week. October 11th was our originally scheduled bye week. Mm-hmm. But keep in mind, we lost our game with Wren simply because it couldn't be played. And we have not played since September 20th, which was our win against Chesney. So I think ideally maybe they would like to try to find a non-region game next week, maybe somebody in the same boat as us. That might be mutually available, but if that doesn't materialize short of that, Woodruff won't play again until they play Mountain View Prep on October 18th, which will at that point have been 5 weeks since Woodruff has played a game.
Wow. You got to go back through a training camp to get back into shape.
Right. So the latest update we got today was it appears as if our students may be able to return to in-person school on Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay. Well, good luck with all that. And thank you, Garrett. Great hearing from you. Call us wherever you happen to be next week.
Well, I'm definitely going to find a game somewhere. I've always wanted to see a game at Hampton County, so I've tooled around the idea of even going down there. But I'll be somewhere, and I'll definitely call.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. How about that, David? I love that. I love somebody who wants to go find high school football somewhere. He'll drive all the way across the state to find it.
That's what you call having it bad, bro.
But how about that situation? And they're not alone. I mean, it could be a month between games for schools like Woodruff.
Yeah, that's why I'm not so sure about the 2-week pause right now, because that's going to – all these teams will be in that boat.
Yeah,
I thought
okay.
it could start.
All right, hang on. We'll come right back. Let's finish that up, and we'll continue in a moment.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
Set your youth up for a lifetime of financial success with Smart Start from Founders Federal Credit Union. Smart Start products and educational resources help teach kids and teens the basics of saving, budgeting, and smart spending. Help them learn smart money skills to jumpstart their financial journey with Smart Start savings, debit, certificates, and educational resources. Learn more at foundersfcu.com/smartstart. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Touchstone Energy cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extra activities continue to enrich the lives of students in South Carolina. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the SCHSL and the South Carolina Athletic Administrators Association.
Go, Gators.
We do not allow losers fight songs on this program. Josh.
Won't be a loser this week. Don't worry.
Keep dreaming. Keep dreaming. Blythewood got a final here. Blythewood defeated Lugoff Elgin tonight. And that final score was Blythewood over Lugoff Elgin 37-24. We'll have all the scores up on our website after the show, sportstalksc.com, all the scores we can get our hands on over the next little bit. Let's get back out to reporters. We appreciate you very much for hanging in there and waiting on us. And let's go to Max Araj from Loco Sports. Give us the wrap-up from down in that Beaufort and Hilton Head and Hampton County areas. Max, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing good, fellas. How are y'all doing?
We're doing terrific, man. What was big down your way tonight?
A lot of games took place here in this area. Bluffton visited Beaufort for each team's first region matchups of the year. Bluffton would get the win in a close one, 42-35 over Beaufort. Beaufort not going well for them. They've had injuries left, right, and center. Hopefully they can get back on a healthy track, but it's been a rough going for them this season. Hilton Head went and visited Bishop England. Now, we weren't really sure what Bishop England was going to look like this year, but they sure looked good because they beat Hilton Head 21-7. And Bishop England's looking like a real strong team in this region.
Mhm.
May River visited Colleton County. May River would easily get the win there, 42-6. How about Battery Creek? Did they continue winning ways? They win 47-14 over North Charleston. Hampton County 44, Edisto 12. Bamberg Earhart would defeat an injury-riddled Hardyville High School team 47-0. Ridgeland would beat Denmark Olar 19-8. And then on the Skeeza side of things, First Baptist would beat JP2. Rough going for JP2 this year. Still do not have a win. First Baptist would win 41-22 over JP2. Hilton Head Prep would play their second game this week as they traveled up to PD Academy. PD Academy, just a more talented team, would win 42-15 over Hilton Head Prep, who won earlier this week against Dillon Christian 29-8 this past Monday. So Hilton Head Prep's looking like a stronger team than we expected. So keep an eye on them. They may make the playoffs this year for Skeeza. The game I was at, Thomas Hayward taking on Patrick Henry. This is a big rivalry between these two schools, and it really showed a lot of chippiness. A couple unsportsmanlike conducts here and there from each team, but Thomas Hayward would get the win in the end, 51-33 over Patrick Henry. And then the final score I have for tonight is Bethesda Academy played Buford Academy. Good game until the end. Bethesda would pull out with the win, 40-20 over Buford Academy.
Very good. You were at that Thomas Hayward game. How the prospect at Thomas Hayward? How did he look tonight?
Oh yeah, Tonio Banner, as good as can be. I will say that game was real close through three quarters. Patrick Henry was having moments where they stopped Tonio Banner, but Tonio Banner and Nick Robinson, those two running backs, are just too much to handle for a lot of the teams that they've faced. Now, Thomas Hayward has been off for 3 weeks, and it's not just because of the hurricane, but also they've had teams backing out on them. This is their first game in 3 weeks, so they've been sitting for a while and been waiting to play a game. So, good win for them. They continue winning ways, and so I really do like Tony Banner. That kid is, at times unstoppable. He will truck through players. His yards after contact is outstanding, and I wish I had the numbers on it, but it's just unbelievable running back that Thomas Hayward has, and he has a very bright future.
Why have teams been backing out on Thomas Hayward?
I assume I'm trying to think. One of them was Faith Christian, and Faith Christian hasn't had a super strong team this year. I think they were missing a few players going into that game, so they ended up forfeiting that game. I'm trying to think who the other team was that backed out on them. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think part of it is because they just don't want to play Thomas Hayward. Thomas Hayward is not a team you really want to face off against unless you have a team capable of beating them, to be honest. It's just this team will bash you out. They're a hard-hitting team on defense. They're a tough team to stop on offense. It's a good combination of both sides of the ball, and they are a mean fighting machine from Thomas Hayward. So, it's unfortunate that Thomas Hayward hasn't gotten games, but a lot of teams right now upstate are dealing with the same thing right now, and most of that is because of Hurricane Helene. I send out my deepest condolences to all those teams who and students from high schools who have been unable to go back to school, have had no power for quite a few days now, and it's very unfortunate, but it's unfortunate, and so you got to go with the flow. For Thomas Hayward, I don't expect them to lose any more games this year, although you just never know, because who expected most of the South Carolina upstate area to not be able to play games right now. So it's just one of those things that you just don't expect, but you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Hey, Max, we thank you so much. Tell folks where they can find your information online.
Yeah, you can definitely check us out on locosports.com. You can also check out our shows every weekday night, Monday through Friday, the Loco Sports Lowdown, where myself, Justin, Jared, and Wes Kerr will get you all up to date on everything going on, not just football, but all sports in the Southern Lowcountry. And then check us out on Thursday night as we do our Loco Pigskin preview. And then Friday night at 9:30, we'll go live from some of the games to give you our Loco Pigskin live. And you can definitely check us out there, and we'll always be there. So please feel free to tune in.
You got it, sir. Thank you very much. Talk to you next week.
Yes, sir, fellas. See you next Friday.
Thank you. Very quickly, let's go to the voice of the Loris Lions. Glenn Hardy is joining us. We got about a minute and a half, Glenn. Big night in Loris. And what's your takeaway on this upset of Dillon?
Good to be with you, Corn. Thanks for having me. Big, I don't know, does this night justice. Historic is really what it was. 30-27 win in the region over the Dillon Wildcats, and just a phenomenal game to call on the radio. I mean, it was a back-and-forth affair just about all night. Well, early, actually, Dillon would go up by 2 quick scores and take a 14-0 lead into the second quarter, but Loris would come back in that second period with 17 unanswered points to take the lead. At that point, Dillon would get another score before the half and lead it 21-14. And so, we're kind of thinking, here we go again. I don't know how much you know about the series history with Dillon, but this is the first win over the Wildcats since 1968. Phil, I'm about to turn 62 next month. I was 5 the last time the Lions won in this series.
Well, listen, we got to go. We're running out of time. I just wanted you to jump on the show and be able to share that with us. Thanks for calling in. Congratulations to the whole community of Loris. I know that's big when that happens. And give us a call next week after your game.
Will do. Fantastic. Have a good night.
Thank you. David Shelton, it's been an interesting night. Thank you for being with us, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to start my T-shirts right now. We beat Dillon, and go to Loris tomorrow and tell them.
Good idea. That's a Billy Baker-like idea. Thank you, Josh Cohen. Have a great night, everybody.